Hi, how are you? Thanks for joining me tonight. My name is Roberta Colosino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I was all ready to go live, and I looked for my phone, and it wasn't here. So I had to go into another room to find it, and I couldn't call it or use the Find My Phone feature because it's in Do Not Disturb mode. So that wouldn't have been very helpful, but I found it. Anyway, I think it's just a little bit after 7 o'clock, so no big deal. I hope everybody's enjoying the nice weather, although a little hot today. I posted earlier that I asked Google what the temperature was, and they told me it was 92, but with the humidity it felt like 100. And I kind of thought, oh, it's not that hot, until I went outside a little while ago to do some stuff with the pool, because as nice as it is, I still can't go in the pool because there's some heavy metals in the water. And so I had to put some stuff in to get that out. Hang on, I'm just doing my adjustments. There we go, there I am. So tonight I'm going to bring you some cards using some stamp sets that I've actually already showed you before, and it's not because I don't have new product, because I do, but I like to show you different ways to use them, and sometimes I do that all at once in one video, and sometimes I do it over the course of a couple of videos. You might let me know how you like that, if you prefer it where I do it all at once and show you like how to do a beginner card and a casual card and an avid card, or if I spread it out a little bit. And sometimes I spread it out a little bit because I'm still playing with it, and when I do the first video I honestly don't know exactly what I can do with it besides the basic stuff. So it could go either way. All right, just putting a couple of things away here, and I will put the camera down and we will get started. I'll have 3 cards for you tonight, and then I'm even going to tell you what we're doing next week. How's that for prepared? All right, hang on just a second. Oops. And there we go. Okay. So let's see. I think we're always looking at the ceiling the first time around. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to bring this in a little bit and just adjust this. It's so hard for me to keep my fingers away from the camera lens when I'm doing that, though I don't know why, but it just is. And okay, that will work. So it's hard for me to believe that it's, what is today anyway, June 19th? I think it is. Is it June 19th? Gosh, I don't even know. Yes, it's June 19th, and I haven't been in the pool once yet. Got opened a little bit late because of all those cold nights, and then there were some other issues. I had to add more water to the pool, and it's always something, always something. All right, so this is my host code for the month of June. If you're going to place an order, please use this host code unless your order is over $150, in which case do not use the host code so that you can get some host rewards for yourself. All right, so there's that. I'll see if I can leave that here. And then please take a look at my daily creative prompts. There are some special offers listed in here that you might benefit from, so take a little look-see when you get a minute. This is up in the, I post it on the first of every month, but it's also up in the featured section so that you can see it. All right, I've also got a couple of little tips and tricks for you tonight that might come in handy. So the first thing I'm going to start with is the Simply Zinnia stamp set, which is part of an entire suite which is called Something Else Zinnia. And if you recall, I think maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, I did this card, which is absolutely what we call a SIP card, or a stamps, ink, and paper card. Very simple, great for a beginner, really nothing but stamping. I didn't use die cuts. I think there's a cat hair inside my envelope there. I didn't use die cuts to cut this out. I just stamped it and cut it out using my little mini trimmer. So that was simple. And then the next week, I showed you how I was able to sort of kick it up a notch by using the embossing folder for the background, and I did post pictures showing you the side-by-side comparison of those so that you could see the difference. And then I also showed you that I made this one where it was pretty much just simple stamping, but I did color it in. So I could have done the coloring with the watercolor pencils. I could have done the coloring with the watercolor pencils and the blender pens. I could have done it with the blends, which are alcohol markers, or I could have done the coloring with the Stampin' Write markers, which are not alcohol markers. So I could have done any of that, but still pretty simple. But then if you remember, and maybe you do, maybe you don't, there's also the embossing folder, which I actually haven't used yet, and I'm not sure. Well, yes, I have. I lied. I used it on that one first card, but I haven't used it for anything different yet. And then, if you recall, this also came with dies. Now, I don't remember if I said this or not, but looking at these dies, for some reason, the thought that popped into my mind was I was thinking about our punches that we refer to as builder punches, because they typically punch out more than one part of something, and it helps to build something. These particular dies for this floral set sort of remind me of a builder punch, only it's not a punch, it's dies. So last week when I was at my craft circle, because I belong to a craft circle that has nothing to do with my business, it's just a bunch of friends who get together and do some crafting, I brought my mini cut and emboss machine and my scrap pile of paper and just started embossing, stamping and embossing. And I did not do, not stamping, no stamping, embossing and die cutting. So I did not stamp anything. These are all images just die cut from, oh my goodness, die cut from cardstock. Thank you, that's what I was trying to say. And I just used whatever colors I had in my bag of scraps. So based on some of the colors that I had in here for tonight, I got a peach pie card base, and I have a white liner, and then I have a pumpkin pie layer that I cut out with a deckled rectangle, and I believe this is the largest one, and then a basic white layer that I believe is 3.5 by 4 3/4. So this is the layer that we'll do kind of our building on, but I need you to see these die cuts because they're just beautiful. And there are, let me show you again so I can point it out to you. These two flowers are not the same because they're meant to be layered. And then there are leaves, and then there's this little green stuff. It almost looks like coral to me, but I'm quite sure that's not what it's supposed to be. And then there is a stem and leaves, and there is a long stem and different size leaves, and then there's the center there. And this is another little, I'm not even sure what to call it, but it shows up in the flowers as this little section here, and they actually look like stars. So that's maybe a little whimsical. I'm not sure what the intention was, but I like it either way. All right, so we're just going to start out trying to find a good match. So obviously I think I want to go with pumpkin pie, and I think I only cut one whole flower out of each color. So I have these two, and like I said, they're separate. So what happens with these is that you layer them on top of each other. Now when I've done this in the past, and I know that if you're mailing this card, you know, kind of all bets are off. But if you're handing it to someone in person, you definitely want to do this. The one that's going to be the bottom layer, I take my bone folder and gently, because you can pull the petals right off if you're not careful. This one's not as delicate as some that we've had. And I curl them backwards. And I know that seems funny, but this is what I like to do. So you can see it almost stands up there. Then I take the other one and I flip it upside down, and it looks like I'm curling them backwards, but I'm actually curling them now so that they will go forward. And doing this with paper works just like a curling ribbon. You know how you use a pair of scissors to curl a curling ribbon? So now I've got this one going up and this one going down. All right, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attach them to each other, kind of offsetting it so that we're not seeing so much white space in between. I'm on a campaign to use up almost empty bottles of glue. So I have an entire basket of them here in front of me. And on a lot of them I wrote the dates that I opened them and used them first, whether in myself or in a class. And this one was opened January 20th, 2023. So it's been around a while. I'm not saying that I used it every day by any means, but it's been around a while. So I'm just going to turn that. Sometimes it's easier if you pick it up and look at it. I want to turn it so that it's sort of having a petal in almost every space so that we're not seeing a lot of like empty air sticking out. It doesn't work perfectly because of the way they're made, and that's okay because no flower is perfect. Although a lot of things in nature do look pretty darn perfect to me. but they're not really perfect. If you ever looked at a snowflake under a microscope, I can't think of anything more perfect looking than that. All right, so I'm just going to hold it. Our glue is very strong and it dries quickly, but I want to make sure that I'm holding it for the next part of this. So another thing that I die cut, and I die cut all of these in black, is that little star-shaped thingamajig that I was telling you about. And then I think I did most of these, if not all of these, in yellow, and this is the center of the flower. Now I have not built any of these yet, so we're kind of learning together. I'm thinking the yellow would go on first, or no, I'm almost thinking that I would like to put the black on first, because then it won't all be showing through the yellow. But again, you might decide to do something different, and that's fine. All right, so I don't have one of my fine tip glue bottles right out here. So I'm going to go for this. And the problem is when these bottles get towards the bottom where they're kind of empty, something weird happens, and even though the bottle's almost empty, the glue starts gurgling up to the top. I don't know any other way to put it. It's a little bit strange, but it just seems to happen all the time. So now I'm going to flip those over. This would be a good time for me to get my tweezers, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. I'm looking to see if they're anywhere where I can see them, and at the moment they're not. And then I'm going to put a little dot in the middle here, and then I can put this centerpiece in. Yeah, I think I like it better with the black peeking out. All right, again, I'm just going to hold that down for a few seconds, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, thinking of another color that might go with the orange. I don't really think purple will. I might have done two, let's see, I think I had Cherry Cobbler, and I think I had, oh, maybe Poppy Parade. I think some of these are a different shade of red than the others, but maybe, okay, those look like they're both maybe real red. I take it back, it's not Cherry Cobbler. And then these look like Poppy Parade. And Poppy Parade, in my opinion, has a touch of orange in it, so I'll go with that. So I'm kind of sticking with the same color family. I'm not going to use any of these long stems. Well, you know what though? Maybe I could, because I kind of want to let you see everything. So what if I put one of these long stems on the back of this? And what's really nice is they give you this little circle here. The only purpose that circle serves is to give you a place to put your glue. And I think that's very clever, because if I were designing this, I'm guessing I never would have thought of that. I just would have made the whole thing a straight line, and that wouldn't have worked out so well. So I'm going to turn that upside down and just give that a couple minutes to dry. And then we're going to go ahead with this one again. So we're just going to put some glue in the center. And then, oh, you know, I forgot to do my little thing with the bone folder, but I don't want to do it now that I've got glue on it, so I think I can still do it after the fact. Let's see if I can or not. I want to spin that a little bit. Okay, and while I'm holding it, letting it dry, I'll do the bottom ones by going down and under with them. And who knows, depending on whether your card goes through the rollers in the post office or not, it's possible that this won't get completely flattened out, so that when it gets to its destination, the person will see that there was some dimension there. And then I'm going to flip it over for the top and go in that same direction. But when I turn it back over, it'll be going in the right direction. Yeah, certainly easier to do before you glue it. Note to self, easier to do before you glue it. All right, so we've got that, and then we've got this little doojiger here that makes them look like a different kind of stem, or a shorter stem. And we'll save that and put that on last, I think, unless I decide not to use it. And then I'm going to find another one of those black things, and another one of the yellow things. I don't know if I did any of these in any other color or not. Let me take a look. I think this is crushed curry, and this is old olive, and this actually is something different. But you know what? It was a scrap. I have a feeling this might actually be an old piece of pear pizzazz, so I apologize for that, but I probably didn't clean out my scrap bin when I cleaned out everything else. Then the other thing was I found these things this dye, which I thought was supposed to be maybe grass or something coming up, and it certainly could be. But then when I've seen other people using it, it seemed like what they used it for was to make kind of like a bud. So it's the same flower, but it's a bud. So maybe we'll save one of those, and I want to find a poppy parade one, though, if I have one. Oh, I'm not sure if I do. Maybe, oh wait, this looks good. This looks promising. I think so. All right. So we'll go ahead. What did I do last time? I put the black thing on first, so we'll do that again. And I'm just doing little dabs, little dots. And I know that the more I squeeze it, the more that's going to come out. So I'm being careful because I know I've had it upside down or laying down. So you have a couple of choices when you're using this glue and you know you're going to keep picking it up, then you can lay it down. But the glue can dry out. So sometimes I tell people they're better off just putting the cap back on. And if you do put the cap back on, and I always like to clean it off real quick before I do in case there's anything stuck to it, you can put it upside down in something like this. Now this one I made, you can buy plastic ones or whatever it's called that people make on 3D printers and sell them on Etsy or different places. This one I made, it took about 10 minutes to make, if that. I've got a couple of different ones kicking around on my desk, and they're very, very simple to make. So if you keep them upside down, especially when they're getting kind of old, the nice thing about that is there's always some glue near the tip. I haven't thought about a sentiment yet, so I have to do that too. Let's see, what are our choices for a sentiment? We've got that words fail to express my gratitude one, which is the nice long one. We've got a thank you so much, and then we have another long one, sending flowers and thinking of you. So I don't think I would use this for a sympathy card. Not that sending flowers and thinking of you definitely means that, but I think it's just maybe a little too bright. You know, it's a toss-up because when someone's lost somebody, you want to do something to cheer them up, but you don't want to. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if we want to send a card that's like all happy, happy. All right, so let's get out another one of these. With any luck, I can find two of the same color. So I've got another one of those. And even though I'm gluing these on and not cutting them, I can certainly come back in, and I probably will, and cut these stems down so that they're not, you know, both at the same height. I can position them, and then I can just trim them off the bottom. So like I said, originally I was thinking that these would be little sprigs of grass growing, and they, like I said, they certainly could be, but I guess that's not what they were intended to be. And these little things here, like I said, for some reason to me, they just look like seaweed or coral or something. Although I do have some pretty funky looking weeds growing in my garden right now, so I guess it could be one of those. I don't know that I've seen anybody use that just yet, maybe because nobody else knows what to do with it either. And then, of course, we have these big leaves, and I think, was there a double leaf? There is a double leaf. Did I not do any of those? Maybe I didn't. Well, that was a little bit of a mistake on my part. I think I would want some of those double leaves. Oh wait, maybe they're here? No, I really didn't do any. What was I thinking? Alright, well, no matter. We don't have to have double leaves. I just hope I have a couple that are the right color. And so I'm doing what I call a dry fit. I don't like to glue until I'm pretty sure I kind of know what I'm doing. And then this one here, if I can pick it up, this one here, there we go. We can put kind of in the middle somewhere. And maybe that's supposed to be like the zinnia bud or the new flower that hasn't opened up yet or whatever. I think if I'm going to put any of this on here, I'd rather have some different colors though. And it doesn't look like I used too many different colors. A couple, but I don't have any dark green. Well, there's another one, so there's two of those. Yeah, there's two of those. Not sure about that yet. Let me think on that for a second or two. Alright, so it would probably be best just to wait till kind of the last and stick those under. So what I could do, let's see. Do I want the little one in the middle? Do I not want it at all? I kind of have some mixed feelings about it. Let's see. If I put this one lower down and put them close together, then that one could go way over here, and that would be all right. And then if I can't bring this one down low enough to have it hanging off the edge, then maybe I could get some of this stuff in there as like weeds growing around it or whatever. Or maybe it's not a weed, maybe it's some kind of plant I've just never heard of. It's not like I've heard of every plant there is, right? And then that'll cover up the fact that that stem's not coming all the way down. I don't think that would be terrible. All right, let's go ahead and get this on. So let's see. I'll put a little more glue in the middle here. I don't think I need to pop these up because they seem pretty darn dimensional just as they are. And then let's have this leaf coming off this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue down here and down at the very bottom, and leave a little bit there that I could lift up and get a leaf under it if I want to. Still haven't completely made up my mind yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so we'll press that down and we'll press that down. This leaf is going to have to come off of this side. And where is my take your pick tool? All right, so I can just lift that up. I didn't really, well, I didn't think I glued, there we go. I knew there was a spot that I left unglued. And then we'll just get some glue on the back of this one, if I can do that without dropping it. So I do hope everybody's enjoying the weather and not just sitting around and being hot and miserable, but getting out and doing something to keep cool, or just staying inside with the air conditioning on and staying cool too, I guess. That is certainly a viable option. It's certainly not a day to do yard work. They did come and mow my lawn today and did the weed whacking and stuff, and I have to say it's one of those times that I'm very happy that I stopped mowing my own lawn, but I actually enjoy mowing the lawn, so I kind of miss it too. All right, and then we'll put this one down here. This one has like some lines on it, so I'm just gonna burnish those down. All right, just want to make sure that everything stays put. I'll put them kind of close to each other, I think. And then this time I really kind of forgot to put some glue under there, but it's not too late. And then I'll put that there. And the, if you can see it, but the die is actually cut into this, so it's not exactly embossed, but it ends up having dimension because of the way it looks, because of it cutting into it. And the same thing is true for the petals on the leaves. The petals on the leaves actually have little slits in them as well. All right, this one I'm going to put going this way, and we'll put it right there. And then I'm just going to get a little, I want to slide that in a tiny bit more. There we go. And then I'm just going to put a little bit going down. And then we can just trim that off. That other little, oh, there it is. Okay, I think what I need to stop and think about is which sentiment am I using, or am I going to use a sentiment from someplace else? And if so, what is it going to look like and where is it going to go? So this just might not have a place here on this card. is what I'm thinking. But I think I can get this in down here just to cover up the bottom of that stem. This would be a really good time to have used my adhesive sheets, or to use my fine tip glue pen. Okay, so let's get this put together while I kind of continue to think about what I want to do for a sentiment. I've been using this one glue bottle for days. I really just can't believe there's anything left in it. I've got to be getting to the very bottom at some point. Okay, and then this will be the liner. Now for the liner, you know what? Maybe I could put this on the inside. That would be cute on the inside, wouldn't it? And then I have something to do with it, and it matches. So that's a good idea. That's cute. All right, that will make a nice liner. Again, I'm not going to use any dimensionals here because I think this has enough layers and dimension with the flowers. Oop. There we go. Kind of a hard card to just press down with your hand because you don't want to flatten out that if you don't have to. So we'll just kind of go around the edges, and then I could just do a little bit of this from the inside, not too much. That is so pretty. It is so pretty. I'm just not sure. I feel like I want just a small sentiment either here or here. I mean, like really small, like a little hello or something. I'm trying to remember what other stamp sets I have out on my desk, because I've been playing with different things all week. I've got to start like categorizing, not categorizing, but recording what sentiments are in what stamp sets so that I can easily find them. And then sometimes I complain because we don't have enough large sentiments, and then when I'm looking for something small, I can't find it. It never fails. Well, Loveliest Tree has a very nice thank you that's really small. The only problem with this is that unless I stamp it on a separate thing, if I stamp it right here and I screw up, then, well, then I just cover it up with something, right? So I won't even think about that. It's not even, it's a non-issue. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm either going to get it right or I'm not going to get it right. All right, so let's see if I can stamp thank you right up there. And maybe in, I don't know, I think maybe black. Or, you know what? No, I'm going to, oh, geez. No, I think I am going to go with black just because I've got the black on there. So the gray will just be like another color. I'm just not always happy with the way the memento comes out for me. Sometimes it comes out perfect and sometimes not so much. So let's see. We have to get it straight and we have to get it stamped well. Not asking too much, right? All right, let me see. I'm going to stand up so that I can see better and hope that that makes a little bit of a difference. Nope, look at that, it blurred. I had a feeling that I touched it before I meant to. So when that happens, don't anybody panic. I just go into my white scrap bin and we'll just try that again. And no one will ever know that I did do it on purpose. I'm going to clean my stamp though. Okay, so let's give that another shot. Perfect. Okay, naturally it's perfect this time. Couldn't be perfect the first time. And then I could, maybe, let me see. I wonder, no, that won't fit, and 1.5 inches will be too big, so we're just going to trim it. We'll just get the baby trimmer out. Oh, and I did say that I was going to post a link to one in Amazon that's very similar to this one, but I was surprised when I looked that there were several and in very different price ranges, and so I've started asking some other demonstrators who also post a link, which one they're using, which one they're recommending, and the question is, have they used it? Because I'm going to be giving you a link to something I've never used myself because I have this one. So I hate to recommend something without knowing how well it works. So I'm going to look into that just a little bit more, and then I will post one that I'm pretty confident works well, either because I read all the reviews or because I talk to other demonstrators and maybe they've had some experience with them. But this is just a wonderful little cutter, and we keep telling Stampin' Up! We think they should come out with it and put it in a catalog, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not, so stay tuned for more information. Okay, so there we go. We just put that there, and it's just fine. So that is card number 1. Now I'm trying to think. Okay, I have one more card with the zinnias. And then my next card, if I remember to do it, is going to be in one of the cards. I'm combining the zinnias and the butterflies. That's what I'm trying to say. But of course now I can't remember which one I was doing what in, so hard to tell how that's going to come out. All right, so we'll set that one aside for now. And this one I'm using Lemon Lime Twist. And I have used, even though the Zinnia has its own embossing folder, I have used the, what's it called, the eyelet embossing folder, just because I really like it. It's pretty. I've had it for a while and I haven't used it, which is just a shame. I read people's comments on Facebook all the time that they buy something and then they realize they never used it. It's very, very pretty. It does look like eyelet lace, but it also kind of has a floral kind of a look to it, so I decided that I was going to use that. All right, so that's going to be my liner. And we're going to do the build a flower thing again, but we're going to do a couple of other things, and then this is where I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. So I'm not going to do this, but you know that you can always use your blending brushes to color these embossed images, whether you do just a light, maybe blue that's supposed to look like the sky and then a little green on the bottom, or you do kind of a rainbowy type effect. It's entirely up to you. But I'm going to leave it white for this card because I just think I'm going to like the way that looks. But you can do all kinds of things with these embossed folders, including using our brayer to color the embossing folder itself. And I've got to get back to that because I tried to show you that once, and what was wrong? Oh, I didn't have the plates for my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. Oh, and my new little kitty, I was using my Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine this morning, and the handle that you turn felt really kind of funny in my hand, and I couldn't figure out why. So I took a good look at it, and it didn't feel right because somebody chewed on it. And I mean chewed on it big time. So, oh, there are ducks in my pool. There's so many chemicals in that pool. Why would they go near it? Okay. So there's the embossed layer. This will be the inside, and I haven't quite decided what I'm doing with that yet. So we are going to build some flowers here, and I thought that with the green background that this pink, this is Melon Mambo, would look really nice, and maybe this one, which is, so two choices. We have the Melon Mambo and Calypso Coral, or we could have the Melon Mambo and that other color. What is that? Well, here it is. Actually, we have three choices. This is Moody Mauve, and this is Highland Heather. So Melon Mambo and Calypso Coral, Melon Mambo and Moody Mauve, that's double M's. I don't think I like that. And Melon Mambo or Highland Heather. I think this combination gets my vote. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to take the bottom one and put them down, turn them down, and the top one, and turn it up. And the same thing with the Melon Mambo one. I hope I cut enough for two flowers, or for four altogether. Yeah, I think I did. Oh, no, wrong way. Wrong way. And you know, the cardstock is pretty sturdy and it can handle this. Just don't pull too tight, because I've had some flowers where they were really delicate here in the middle, and I ended up pulling a what do you call it, a petal off. Although usually I was able to somehow glue it back on so nobody but me knew that it was broken. But alright, so I'm going to glue that down, offset, just like we did before. I'll give that a couple of seconds to dry, and then I'll do this one. Also wanted to remind you, I know that I mentioned about the bundle sale, and just a reminder, because people have asked, it's only for the die and stamp bundles, not for the punch and stamp bundles. 10% off, but it's an additional 10% off because they're already 10% off, so that's 20% off. And if you happen to be a team member or a demonstrator, then you get your 20% off or 25% off. Some of my team members get 25% off. And so then you're getting 45% off, and that's no joke. That's really what you're getting. But there's also, and I think I may have forgotten to mention at least one of the times that I talked about this, there's also a sale going on the Stamp and Cut and Emboss machines, and those are also 10% off, which is a really nice savings. So I know I have some customers who've only gotten the mini because they thought that would be, you know, good enough, and then they kind of are thinking now that they'd like to have the full-size one as well. No, I really do like it with the black underneath. And I wonder if you could probably eliminate the black if you don't like it. That's just the way they show it in the catalog, but that doesn't mean that's the way you have to do it, obviously. But I will remind you again to case the catalog, because you can copy any card from there. It's not like a copyright situation, okay? They want you to take ideas from them. Their artists will not be offended. Nobody will be offended. All right. You can say that I said so. I promise no one will get in trouble. And if you're showing it to people and sharing it with people, you can certainly tell them that you got the idea from the Stampin' Up! Catalog, just like you can copy anything that I do. And then when I'm done with this, what I want to show you is one of my little tips. And I know I've kind of shown you these things before, but it's always a good thing to see them again. And I don't know if I've showed you everything that I've done with them. So, well, let's get the stems on these. And this time I'll use the darker green, which is garden green, I believe. Yeah, that's garden green. So we'll put those on. And we won't do the little flower again unless we decide to use it on the inside, but I think I have something else planned for the inside. Okay, so you know you've seen me do lots of projects where I've used the blending brushes, and I think you know how much I like the blending brushes. Sorry, I was hanging upside down in my chair again. I keep saying I'm going to stop doing that because one of these days I'm going to throw something in my back totally out of whack, and I'm going to be sorry. So when I use the blending brushes, I very often have just a piece of scrap paper. Oh, what happened here? Whoops, hang on. I guess it wasn't quite dry, and I must have moved it while I was putting the stem on. Hang on. Glad I caught that before it got too dry. Okay, so I very often put a piece of paper down that I use just to catch the ink so that it's not getting all over my table or whatever. And sometimes I say to you, don't throw that out, you can use that. And I'm very sure that you sometimes think, you know, this lady, she doesn't know what the heck she's talking about half the time. All right, and while I may know what I'm talking about, I may not know where something is that I had this afternoon that I all of a sudden can't find. Hang on, they were in a little container like this. I love these containers, by the way. I get these on Amazon. And no, I don't get paid anything for telling you that. What the heck happened to it? Oh my gosh, goodness. Oh, if it's really missing, I'm just gonna like scream. I won't scream loudly, but I might scream. All right, I had 3 of these bins out here today, though, so there's one more. Here it is. Okay. Phew, thought I was losing it. So I am going to make a card with the butterflies, but I want to show you this because this is separate. So what I did was I took these papers, and they're kind of a mess, you know. You look at this and you think, oh, there's kind of a brown blob there, and this is too dark green, and this has weird lines in it. But when you're doing something small, I'm promising you it doesn't matter. So what I did was I took those, and all right, so no, not this one. I'll show you that in a minute. I took those and I die cut these butterflies out of one of those. So you've got the dark green and some green over here and a little bit of yellow, and then you've got purple in there because it's kind of all over everywhere. Then I had some ones that I did out of just out of DSP, and that's an old retired DSP. I'll show you that again in a minute. And then I had some that I stamped on paper and then embossed the paper, okay? But this one, I used the DSP, and this one, and it's hard because once you emboss it and then run it through the die cut machine to cut it, you'll lose some of the texture of the embossing. But this one was cut out of just one of those scraps that I just showed you. Okay, and you really can't see the embossing too much, a little bit. I can feel it, but you probably can't see it. But it was just cut out of some of that paper. And this is another one that's just cut out of some of that paper, and you can kind of see, there it is right there. There's the paper that I cut it out of. So it's beautiful for a butterfly, especially because you're seeing such a variety of colors. So that's a tip, okay? That's definitely a tip that you can do that with almost anything. So my idea was, let's see, I didn't do any super small ones that way though. Although I have these. Let's see what I can do with them. I probably should have played a little bit more and done a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and put these on here. And I'm going to want a butterfly, probably this one. I know it's kind of big, but because this one, I don't know if I like the color combination with that. And then the only other small one I didn't color at all. It's embossed, but it's black and white. I don't think we want black and white. I don't know, maybe. I should have done more of this size because I think that would be a better size with this. And I just don't really want to do a bunch of embossing right now. So what I could do though is I can take this and I can cut it. So instead of being a string of butterflies, it's going to be just one butterfly. I think I'm going to like that just fine. So then we'll glue this one down, and I'll put it right near the bottom. And this one I will have to measure because I can't just trim it off once it's, because of the layers that I've got here, I won't be able to just trim that off. So I think I'll put them down like that. And then I'll just cut this one before I glue the stem down, if that makes any sense. And I think those are going to be so pretty. So pretty. But I did kind of want one taller than the other. Well, this one I could put right here at the tip. I think I can do that. So save those I call them scrap papers, throw papers. Artists call them drop papers because they kind of drop them on the floor on their paper and let all the gunk drop onto them. I don't know. That's my theory about why they call them drop papers. But whatever it is, I say save them because they definitely come in handy for die cutting things. They may not be good for a lot of things, but I think they come in handy for die cutting things. So I'm going to start at the bottom and put this here because I want that right at the bottom, and then I'll go ahead and stick the rest on. And I like this just plain white behind it, but you might like to add some color to it, and you could certainly do that. Just going to go down part way. And this way, I'm hoping there's no glue on that. I can just snip that right off. And I think this butterfly looks perfect just like it is right there, but I think I will take a little piece of dimensional. I've got all of these little snippy pieces that I'm trying to get rid of. And again, so this was literally, I think it was one of those, test sheets where you just put the ink in and it runs a test sheet for you. It's the back of that. And who would ever know? So it's not as sturdy as cardstock, obviously. It's just literally computer paper, copy paper. but I think it's just fine. And you do want your butterfly to be delicate anyway, right? I could have put a little wink of Stella on that, which would make that really pretty, but what I could do instead is look for a gem, look for a little something blingy. Gosh knows I've got bling because I'm so bad and I forget to use it, so I've got tons of it. Oh, I do love these. These came with the zinnia, but I wanted to put something smack in the middle of the butterfly there, like on the butterfly's body. It would have a little shine to it. I'm just looking for the basic jewels because those are kind of the best for all around everything. And of course when I'm looking for them, I can't find them. Now I'm looking at old retired stuff and that's not right. Oh, here they are. Here they are. Ooh. Well, there's also the iridescent pearls. They would be nice too, but let's do just one of the basic. They're called rhinestone basic gems. Let's do one of those, and let's do a small one because that's a pretty small butterfly. So I'll just take one off and put it right in the center of their body. Oh, how pretty that is. So then do I want to mix it up and use these? You know what might look nice is one of these lemon lolly ones in the middle of that. You can't see it too well, but I think you can see it well enough that if someone picks it up and looks at it, they'll see the shininess of it. Hang on just a second, let me put these away, and then we'll see what you can see. Let's give it a look. So if I put that under here and move it around a little bit, can you see that bling? Yes, you can. So that's nice, and who doesn't like a little bling? Right, so for this one, again with the sentiments, let me see. Oh, so another thing I did with those too, just to have them handy, was I did a couple of, these look like maybe 1.5 inch circles, I'm not sure, maybe 2 inch circles. I just used that drop paper and did some circles that I could use for possible backgrounds for things. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them exactly, but I decided I wanted to have some in the ready just in case. All right, now for the inside, I'm still thinking about a sentiment. I'm having trouble with my sentiments tonight. I'm really trying hard to think about what sentiments I need more of in my stash. And if I'm going to be selling any cards this summer, and I think I might be, then I'm thinking about, what people are going to buy. The one sentiment that we do not have that appears very often in cards, or in our sets of stamps rather, is a happy anniversary sentiment. And very often people are looking for those anniversary cards. And I know we have one, but I have to find it and pull it out, and maybe I should make a couple of anniversary cards just so that we have those. I really don't have too many people these days that I say happy anniversary to. Well, my son and his wife, hello, there's them. And they might almost be the only ones. Not that I don't have other married friends. I've never been big on sending anniversary cards except to like immediate family, So I guess that's why it's not been a thing for me. I think the glue might finally be drying up here. I'm having a hard time getting much of anything out. I think it'll be enough to just put this down. How about on top? Because butterflies should be flying, right? So they should be on top. Okay, and what I like to do is just take a piece of paper. See, it's one of those test sheets. That's all that is. I like to just take a piece of paper when I've done something kind of like fine and open like that and go like this. I don't know why, but it never sticks. But if there's glue that's like oozed out, it will pick it up, and that's nice because then it gets it off my card. Because if you've got glue like this and it's on, if it's on the inside of your card, then your card's going to get glued shut, and that's really annoying when that happens. Really annoying. Ask me how I know. Oh, now there's lots of glue coming out. Okay. I don't know how much longer this glue is going to last. I don't know. I think you're going to have to let me think about a sentiment. or maybe find the happy anniversary one. That might be nice. And then I'll have it on there by the time I post it. So that's card number 2, and that combines the butterflies with the zinnias. So now we're done with zinnias, and we're going to move on to just butterflies. Okay, so I'm going to do one card with the butterflies. I kind of had some ideas running around in my head, but that's as far as it goes. So I picked a Highland Heather card base, and then I cut out these in Gorgeous Grape using something. Hang on. What are those called? They are called, hang on. They are called the Everyday Detail dies. So these 2 dies here do not actually cut out. They basically just, you could use them on the bottom of a piece of paper, and they just cut out these little circles, that design. But I decided I wanted a strip to put on my inside, and I didn't care if it was the full length or not. So I did the die cut on the purple, and then I cut a strip, okay, because this does not cut out a shape. And I used the largest die, I used the 3rd largest die, and I used the smallest die. And again, I really honestly was not sure where I was going with that. These are the dies that come with this, and if you remember, last week I think it was, we made this card, which was also an example of a simple stamping card. So I stamped the butterflies in smoky slate all over the background, put a basic, oh, I think it's black, or basic gray, maybe basic gray, stamped the sentiment and put a basic gray or black little banner behind it, and then I only colored one butterfly. This was like my focal point, and I colored that with the light and dark flirty flamingo ink on the blends, the blender, yes, the blends. Okay, so that was a very simple card, easy for a beginner to do, and so this time I wanted to use some die cuts and take it a step further. So let's get, and I'm trying to think, I used the distressed, oh, I know what I use this for. I used the distressed tile for the butterflies that I embossed. That's what I used that for. So I kind of used a combination of lots of different things. And I'm going to have to make some more of these. And then tomorrow at my craft circle, I'm going to be working on the die cuts for next week's cards. And by the way, you may have seen that I posted yesterday morning about how I was coming to you at 7 o'clock. That's because yesterday morning in my head it was Wednesday. Later on I found out that it wasn't, so I took my post down and redid it this morning. I truly thought it was Wednesday. I don't know what to tell you. So what I kind of had in mind was to have this here. This will be my inside, and I'll just set that aside for a minute. And then to possibly have, oh, hang on, I gotta get my take your pick tool, and most of these came out, but a few little ones didn't make it out. So I'm just gonna, actually just 2 didn't come out. There they are. And this one looks like they all came out. This one is different. This one looks more like stitching, so there's nothing to pop out there. So I had some kind of a thought, and sometimes that's as far as I get, is some kind of a thought about using these die cuts and then possibly using a circle punch and finding a sentiment that would fit in maybe one of these 2 circles. That one might be pushing my luck. That I could stamp in white, and then having this be sort of just a big focal point on the front with maybe, wasn't sure if I wanted to use the big butterfly, and when I die cut him, the die shifted a little bit, and that's why there's so much white showing, and we don't lose any sleep over that. We just take our scissors and we fix it. You want to leave some white showing around the edges because the die does that naturally, and that's okay, but you don't want to have a ton of it showing. So I'm just going to fix that. No problem. It's not a big deal. The paper snips let me do all kinds of fine stuff, and that's what I love about them. And it really doesn't cut too far up into here, but I think it would look better if it did, so I'm going to. And again, nothing says you have to do this. This is just my personal preference. You do not have to do anything that I do. Sometimes I see people doing things and I like what they did, but I think of a different way that I could do it, and so I take their idea and I kind of make it my own. And I like doing that too, because then I don't feel like I'm taking another demonstrator's ideas, but they don't mind. Most of them don't mind if you do that either, so don't give it too much thought. Flattery, what is it? Imitation is the finest form of flattery. That's the quote I was trying to come up with. So I'm going to do the same thing over here and just trim it up a little bit so we don't have quite as much of that white showing. And I think it just looks a little bit better that way. And that was only because the die moved. I was trying to be cool and not tape it down. I was just going to put the top plate on and hold it in place, and it was going to work. And, you know, it wasn't the best idea. Definitely using a little piece of, I used the low tack tape or post-it note tape, or just a post-it note for that matter. Something like that works really well, and I just was being a little lazy and thought I could do it without it. So there we go. So I thought I could put that there, but I don't know, because it's a lot of purple on purple. So after doing all that, I might decide to come in here with this other one, which I think actually looks better on this particular card. And if I had the smaller size, I would do it on there. And the only other small one I did, I really wasn't thinking ahead here. The only other small one I did was this one, and I don't like the colors on there. I could do one that's just plain not colored at all, and I don't think that would be a bad contrast. I think that would be okay. And then, or if I wanted to, let's go back to this purple one again for just a minute. What if I were to put something like this? I wish it was bigger, but what if I were to put something like that, just to kind of, or I could maybe even do two of them, just to kind of break up the purple a little bit. I kind of like that. So this design for this particular butterfly, I actually got the coloring from looking up actual butterfly pictures. And there was one that had black in the center, and then purple, and then black around the edges. I'm not loving the butterfly in general for some reason, whether it's the coloring or what. I'm just not loving it. I'm really like in love with the way the drop paper looks. So, all right, once again, and you know, you have to do this sometimes. Don't make yourself crazy. Like I tell the people in my classes, don't think too much. Thinking too much hurts. And then I wondered if I would even maybe just make it kind of a circle themed card by having lots of circles on there, and then the sentiment would be in one of them. That's a thought too. And then if I took I think the 1.5 inch might be two something. Not the right size, is what I'm trying to say, but let's try it. 1.5 inch per circle. Oh no, that would be perfect. That would be just fine. All right. So what about something like that? Kind of, like I said, a circle theme sort of thing. Maybe a corner to corner kind of thing, where that one's underneath, and then this one here partially underneath, and then the circle on top. No, I don't like that. All right, so something to that effect. I think that's, I'm kind of liking that. So let's see. We're going to glue this one down. Glue that one right down kind of in the corner there. And then we're going to glue this one down. Next, and this one can go over that one a little bit. I'm not going to press it down yet, because I want to kind of see what's going on with the sentiment. And that butterfly could overlap onto that one, and that wouldn't bother me at all. And then this one, let's go this way. I'm thinking of that kid's song, think I've said this before, go this way and that way, I won't sing to you. And then that way over here. And then I feel like this is going to need something, but I have an idea for that too. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and press that down. And then I'm going to get some dimensionals again. And I'm going to pop up these butterflies. This was the back of a flyer for some class that I had. I hate to just, you know, and I recycle paper, so it's not a big deal, but I figure if I can use it for something, why not? So I try to use everything. I think I've gotten a reputation because for some reason people like to throw their garbage on my lawn, and it's not garbage. It's like, you know, soda bottles and stuff. And of course, it's on my lawn is on the way home from the middle school. So, you know, middle school kids are middle school kids. So I'm always picking up bottles and bringing them in the house and washing them and putting them in the recycling. Come on. There we go. All right, so what did I say? Which direction? This one was going to go this way so that this one could go that way. I'm going to check this out again. Okay, we'll put that one that way. And then we'll put this one this way. I don't know if that's exactly the way I had it before or not, but we'll see. And then I'm going to glue this butterfly down. You can actually see the embossing really well on the other side because it doesn't have any design on it. We'll glue that one down. And then this one I'll pop up because I wanted to pop at least one of those up. When you use a die cut to cut something like this, just so you know, there kind of is a right side and a wrong side. You would never see it from where you're sitting, but there is a right side and a wrong side. It's not the end of the world if you use the quote-unquote wrong side, but I'm just letting you know, and if you look at something that you've die cut, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so then my sentiment's going to go there, and I just have to figure out what that's going to be. And what I was thinking was the Zinnias set, which of course I've already put away, right? Where did I put it? The Zinnias set, she says. No, that's the loveliest tree set. Hang on. The Zinnias set has these little things that kind of look like stars or asterisks or whatever. That might be a kind of a cute thing to stamp around a little bit. So I'm going to give that a try. Might have been better to do it before I put the whole card part together so that some of these little things would be like on the, what am I trying to say, would be underneath, but you know, I didn't think of that, so there. And how about if I use Highland Heather for that? I don't know if I'm liking it or not, to be honest. I'm thinking maybe I should have stamped off and made it lighter. But it's too late now. I think it's almost too neat. You know what I mean? Like, I would have liked messy splotches better, maybe. Okay, well, it's done. So, there you go. Not sure I love it or not, but I don't hate it, so that's always good. Not hating it is a good thing. All right, so then a sentiment that will fit in a 1.5 inch circle. So here we go again. So I think maybe, oh, that happy birthday is not quite small. Maybe it is. All right, happy anniversary would be too long, probably, even if I had one, unless it was super small. So let's see. So these stamps are on the blocks because I did use them before, but I didn't actually do any stamping of the butterflies with you. So let's see if that really fits on there. It looks like it's going to. And then maybe I'll use the Highland Heather for that too. This is a nice happy birthday. The happy is in print and the birthday is in cursive, and I always like when they mix the fonts like that. Okay. And then we pop that up so I won't double pop it. We'll just glue this down. Well, there is still lots of glue coming out there. And then for the inside, well, maybe just to kind of follow along with the theme here. Only this time maybe I'll make it kind of neat on purpose. I'm just going to go sort of up a little bit on one side. Butterfly that I could use. Not one that matches. I'd have to cut out another one. But maybe I'll put another little butterfly on the inside once I get one cut out that I like the way it matches. Oh, this one opens this way. Didn't even really notice that. All right, so just one more plug. Don't forget 10% off on the die bundles, only the die bundles, and on the machines. Because I know there's a lot of people who've been thinking about getting them, but you know, they're, especially the big one, is a bit of an investment. So here are the, let me just clean up my mess here. It would have been easier if I kept it and did it as I went along, wouldn't it? All right, so the 2 Zinnia cards, but one with a butterfly. And then, oh, and I forgot to put this on the inside too, so now I don't know if I would or not. I'm going to have to think about that. Maybe I will. The 2 Zinnia cards and the butterfly card, and you can see how very different they are from the ones that we did in recent weeks that were much, much simpler. And as far as the Zinnia goes, I love this. I love, obviously I've picked bright colors, but I love how bright they are, and I just love the design of them and the fact that they're so 3D. I just really like that. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will... Adam, how are you? So, he says, I was going to say that you recycle everything. Yes, anyone who was ever a student of mine remembers that I'm a little crazy when it comes to recycling. I know. And yes, I could have done it before I glued it. You're right. You are very right. But that's because you have a detailed mind, Adam. And sometimes my mind isn't so detailed. I'm going to be honest. Sometimes it's just not so detailed. Well, it's very nice of you to stop in and watch. Thank you very much. All right, so here we go. Those are the 3 cards. I want everyone to have a really great week. And I'm doing okay too, Adam. Enjoying retirement. And I'm doing a lot of this kind of thing all the time. So I'm going to come back again next Wednesday night at the same time, 7 o'clock. I think I ran a little bit over tonight, but sometimes that happens. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the hot weather. I hope you all have someplace to keep cool. And I will see you again 1 week from tonight. Take care.